Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, it's from verse 16, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Tonight reciters are Usha Mataji will be reciting in Sanskrit and Vanita Mataji will be reciting in English from Canto 3, Chapter 25, verses 16 to 30. So Usha Mataji, whenever you're ready, can you please start with invocation 3 times? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 16. Ahamabhimano tattaihi kamalopadivirmalehi vitam yada manaha suttam adukham sukham samam.
When one is completely cleansed of the impurities of lust and greed, produce identification of the body as I and bodily possessions as mine, one's mind becomes purified. In that pure state, he transcends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress.
Tada purusamatmanam kevalam prakrutehe param nirantaram swayam jyotir animanam akhanditam.
At that time, the soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size.
ज्ञानवैराग्ययुक्तेन भक्तियुक्तेन चात्मना परिपश्यत्युदासीनं प्रकृतिं च हतोजसम्.
In that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence, and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him.
न युज्यमानया भक्त्या भगवति अखिलात्मनि सदृशोऽस्ति शिवः पन्था योगिनां ब्रह्मसिद्धये।
Perfection is self-realization, cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for that is the only auspicious path.
प्रसङ्गम् अचरं प्रसन् आत्मनः कवयो विदुः स एव साधु सुकृतो मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम्।
Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self realized devotees, opens the door of liberation.
तितिक्षवः कारुणिकः सुहृदः सर्वदेहिनम् अजातशत्रवः शान्ताः साधवः साधुभूषणः।
The symptoms of the sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime.
मय्यनन्येन भावेन भक्तिं कुर्वन्ति ये दृढाम् मत्कृते त्यक्तकर्माणि त्यक्तस्वजनबान्धवः।
Such a sadhu engages in staunch devotional service to the Lord without deviation. For the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections, such as family relationships and friendly acquaintances within the world.
मदाश्रयाः कथामृष्टाः शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैनामद्वतचेतसः।
Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities.
तायते साधवः साध्वी सर्वसङ्गविवर्जितः सङ्गस्ते स्वतः ते पार्थ्यः सङ्गदोषहराजितेति।
O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the parichnaj effects of material attachment.
सतां प्रसङ्गान्मवीर्यसंविदौ भवन्ति हि कर्णरसायनाः कथाः सच्चोषणदासपर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति।
In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes, the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin.
Bhaktyān pumanjata viraga indriyat drishta srutana prachananuchintya चित्तस्य यतो ग्रहणे योगयुक्तो यतिष्यते रुचिपुर्युगमार्गैः
Thus, consciously engaged in devotional service, in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next, by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power when one is actually situated on that path of devotional service. He is able to control the mind.
असेवयायं प्रकृतेर्गुणानां ज्ञानेन विजृम्भितेन योगेन मय्यपीतया च भक्त्या मां प्रत्यगात्मानमः वरुन्धे
Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge in renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life, for I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth.
देवकीरुवाच काचित्त्वयच्युचिता भक्तिः कीदृशी मम गोचर यया पदं ते निर्वाणम् अच्छसान्वासनासस्नवा अहम्
On hearing this statement of the Lord, Devahoti inquired, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet?
यो योगो भगवद्वान् निर्वाणात्मत्वयोदितः कीदृशः कति चान्दने यत्त्वत्त्वावबोधनम्
The mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga?
तदेतन्मे विजानीहि यथाहं मन्दते हरे सुखं बुद्धये यदुर्बोधं योऽसा भवदनुग्रहात्
My dear son Kapila, after all, I am a woman. It is very difficult for me to understand the absolute truth because my intelligence is not very great. But if you will kindly explain it to me, even though I am not very intelligent, I can understand it and thereby feel transcendental happiness.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Please forgive any mistakes. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Mataji and Vinita Mataji, thank you for the very nice recitation.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Matajis, for the beautiful recitation. And thank you, Kirti Dadulali Mataji, as well. Thank you, Hare Krishna, dear devotees and everyone joining. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, dear devotees, while waiting for Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji to join us to facilitate tonight's class, I'll start the meeting with the Mangalacharan prayer. You can all join me behind muted mics. So let's put our hands together. Let's pray very sincerely. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu-sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gora Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you. Okay, so let me just check and see if Prabhuji has joined.
Hare Krishna, Shiji Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I request one thing, that Usha Mataji's father-in-law passed away a while ago, and can we dedicate this class or the prayers for Usha Mataji's father-in-law, please?
Yes, sure. That's sure. Let's all unmute and let's chant Hare Krishna while waiting for Prabhuji to join us. Let's all unmute and let's do the Maha Mantra together for Usha Mataji. All can unmute. Please unmute. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, dear devotees. So,
Thank you.
very, very sorry to hear the sad news, Mataji. So we are all praying for the departed soul's onward journey to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear devotees. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So while waiting for Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji to join, what we can do is read today's discussion verses, and then we'll read the purports as well. So Jyoti Mataji is kindly sharing the verses with us, and hopefully Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji will join us quite soon. Okay, could you make the text a bit bigger, please, Jyoti Mataji? That's better. So today's discussion verses are, let's see, today's 18 and 19. So we'll read verses 18 and 19, please. Jyoti Mataji, verses 18 and 19, please. Okay. So any volunteers who would like to read the Sanskrit first? You can unmute yourself and read the Sanskrit, please.
Read, Mataji.
Okay.
Yes, please, go ahead. Thank you.
ज्ञानवैराग्ययुक्तेन भक्तियुक्तेन चात्मना परिपश्ययुक्तानां प्रकृति चाहति जसाम्.
Carry on, please. Thank you. The translation and the purport.
In that position of self, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional, one sees every perspective. He becomes indifferent to existence, and the material influence acts less powerful upon purpose. As the contamination of the germs of a particular disease can influence a weaker, similarly, The influence of material illusion on the weaker or conditions, but not on the liberated. Self-realization is the position of the liberated. One understand his constitutional position, knowledge, and renunciation. Without knowledge, one cannot have realization. The realization that one is the infinitesimal part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit, makes him unattached to material life. That is the beginning of devotional service. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, one cannot engage himself in devotional service of the Lord. In this verse, it is therefore stated, Jnana Viragya Yuktena. When one is in full knowledge of one's constitutional position and is in the renewed order of life, detached from material creation, then by pure devotional service, Bhakti Yuktena, he can engage himself as a loving servant of the Lord. Paripashyati means that he can see everything in its right perspective. Then the influence of material nature becomes almost nil. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. When one is self realized, he becomes happy and free from the influence of material nature, and at that time, he is free from lamentation and hankering. The Lord states that position as Mad Bhaktim Labte Param, the real state of beginning devotional service. Similarly, it is confirmed in the Narad Panchtatra that when the senses are purified, they can then be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. One who is attached to the material contamination. Yes, Mataji, can you please scroll down?
Scroll up.
Cannot be a devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nice reading. Thank you. And we'll go on to text 19 now. Any volunteers to read the
I don't
Sanskrit?
mind, Mataji.
Yes, please carry on. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Na yuchya manaya patya bhagavate akhilatmani satrashosti swaha pantha yoginam brahma siddhaye. Perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for that is only auspicious path. That knowledge and renunciation are never perfect unless joined by devotional service is explicitly explained here. Na yuchyamanaya means without being dovetailed. When there is devotional service, then the question is where to offer that service. Devotional service is to be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the super soul of everything, for that is the only reliable path of self-realization or Brahman realization. The word Brahma Siddhaya means to understand oneself to be different from matter, to understand oneself to be Brahman. The Vedic words, where was I? The Vedic words are Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma Siddhi means that one should know that he is not matter, he is pure soul. There are different kinds of yogis, but every yogi is supposed to engage in self-realization or Brahman realization. It is clearly stated here that unless one is fully engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot have easy approach to the path of Brahma Siddhi. In the beginning of the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that when one engages himself in the devotional service of Vasudeva, spiritual knowledge and renunciation of the material world automatically becomes manifest. Thus, a devotee does not have to try separately for renunciation or knowledge. Devotional service itself is so powerful that by one's service attitude, everything is revealed. It is stated here, Shiva Pantaha. This is the only auspicious path for self-realization. The path of devotional service is most confidential, means for attaining Brahman realization. That perfection is Brahman realization, is attained through the auspicious path of devotional service, indicates that the so-called Brahman realization or realization of the Brahma Jyoti effulgence is not Brahma Siddhi. Beyond that Brahma Jyoti, there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Upanishads, a devotee prays to the Lord to kindly put aside the effulgence Brahma Jyoti, so that the devotee may see within the Brahma Jyoti the actual eternal form of the Lord. Unless one attains realization of the transcendental form of the Lord, there is no question of bhakti. Bhakti necessitates the existence of the recipient of devotional service and the devotee who renders devotional service. Brahma Siddhi through devotional service is realization of the, if you can scroll up please, is Brahma realized, nor is the realization of the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Person perfect. For Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Akhilatma. He is the Supersoul. One who realizes the Supreme Personality realizes the other features, namely the Paramatma feature and the Brahman feature, and that total realization is Brahma Siddhi. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Vanita Mataji. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji has joined us. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhuji, I've recited the Mangalacharan prayer, and the devotees have just read today's discussion verses, which are 18 and 19. So, I'll hand over to you now, hand over the class to you now. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, my throat is very sore, so my voice may be a bit hoarse. Yeah, I didn't realize it was my turn to facilitate today, so please accept my apologies for the class being a bit disrupted today. Fortunately, I recently gave a class at the Soho Street Temple on these two verses, so it's some verses that I've meditated on recently, very important verses, and I'll try to say a few words about it. So, text number 18, very, very important. So Prabhupada is talking about Gyan and Vairagya, and Prabhupada explains that on the spiritual path, these two aspects are very important. So Gyan, generally, we understand to be knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Srila Prabhupada explains that real spiritual knowledge means to have full understanding of the self. So that's the first thing. Um, by Gyan, we mean spiritual realization. So one has to have spiritual realization. And spiritual realization means that I am not this body, I am the soul. And as the soul, I am eternal servant of Krishna. Unless one has this spiritual realization, progress on the path is very difficult, because one can be very easily distracted. Now, the second aspect, vairagya. Vairagya means renunciation, detachment. We have to, on the spiritual path, be detached from the material and attached to the spiritual. Now, for a conditioned soul who's been in this material world for countless lifetimes, you cannot even trace it. To detach, to detach from the material body and the material world is very difficult. In fact, there is one verse in this chapter where Devahuti is telling a son, Kardamba, how is it possible for the soul to detach from this material world? So this proposition of having spiritual realization and detachment, two key ingredients, is a very, very difficult proposition for a conditioned soul. Very difficult. So how does one come to the point of spiritual realization and detachment? This verse is saying something very important. That by performance of devotional service, Gyan and Vairagya are automatic byproducts of one who is situated on the platform of devotional service. A devotee does not have to endeavor separately for Gyan. A devotee doesn't have to endeavor separately for Vairagya, detachment. Now one may ask, how? How is this possible? Something that's very difficult. How is that possible? And Prabhupada is saying, only in such condition can we see things in its right perspective. And the simple answer is by the mercy of Krishna. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tesham satatam yuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. That to those who constantly worship him with love, pratipurvakam, he gives the intelligence by which they can come to him. Meaning, this gyan, this spiritual realization, Krishna reveals. You know, we often say that gyan can never be achieved. Gyan can only be revealed. Just on Monday, I was reading an article written by Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj. And the title of this article is called Sit Close By. And in this article, Maharaj is talking about how in his studies in Harvard University, for those that do not know, Maharaj is doing some studies through Harvard University. So as part of his studies, he has to study the Upanishads. And he writes that the Upanishads seem so cryptic, seem so difficult to understand, because the Upanishads, they are the philosophical part of the Vedas. And he said that no ordinary person by themselves can figure out the meaning of the Upanishads. But he said, therefore, the recommended way to study the Upanishads is to go and study under a teacher who's realized the Upanishads. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tad veri pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadikshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to approach a spiritual master, render service unto him, and inquire submissively. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge to you because they have seen the truth. So this gyan, it only comes to the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And one who performs devotional service, that means serves Guru and Krishna, the knowledge comes automatically. What is this famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam? I'm forgetting it now. Jnana Vairagya. Anyway, maybe I'll remember later. But it's a very, very famous verse in Bhagavatam which says, simply by rendering devotional service to Krishna, knowledge and renunciation come automatically. And renunciation too. A devotee does not have to try to become detached. By dint of advancement in devotional service, automatically they become detached. And a very good example in the Bhagavatam is the example of Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj was seeking a kingdom. He wanted to be the most opulent person in the universe. But after he had the darshan of Krishna, after he performed devotional service, this all seemed like, he said he was looking for diamonds, but he's realized he's got broken glass. It all seemed insignificant. So this is the power of devotional service. That which the jnanis strive very hard for, but invariably never achieve. That which the yogis and the renunciants try very hard for, but are never able to achieve. They fall on very easily. So many examples. The devotees can achieve it. That's why this chapter is called The Glories of Devotional Service. Devotional service is so glorious. We're studying a verse recently from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami writes, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that which is very difficult to achieve is easily achieved. And if one does not have the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything becomes very difficult. Very difficult. And And Prabhupada quotes this verse from the Narada Pancharatra in the final lines. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatparkveyanam nirmalam rishikena rishikesham sevanam bhakti uchyate. That by performance of devotional service, the senses become purified by the master of the senses, Rishikesh. And when these senses become purified, one can engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So that is there. And then the next verse, also very important. The scriptures tell us that Gyan by itself is very weak. Vairagya by itself is very weak. Very weak in the sense that in and of themselves, they cannot lead one to perfection. Only when bhakti is added to Gyan, only when bhakti is added to Vairagya, is there any chance of that leading to perfection. Brahmasiddhaya. Oh yeah, the verse is Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. Jnana ati asu vairagya. Jnanam chayat ahaitukam. That is the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. That by performance of devotional service, Jnana and Vairagya come automatically. It is said that personification of Gyan, personification of Vairagya, they are standing with folded hands in front of Bhakti Devi, praying that Bhakti Devi will bestow some mercy upon them so that they can make some advancement. And Prabhupada says in the purport, thus, a devotee does not have to try separately for renunciation or knowledge. Srila Prabhupada used to tell the story of the hunter Mrigari. Mrigari, the hunter, he was half killing the animals. And Narad Muni went to him and said, why are you creating so much of pap? And he said, what is pap? Then Narad Muni said, it's sin. When you kill animals, you get sin. So Narad Muni said, you go, sit in a hut, take a tulsi plant and chant. The Mrigari said, but how will I live? How will I get food? Then Sri Narad told him, don't worry, that will come. So news came that the Anta Mrigrari had become a great sadhu. He stopped hunting and he would chant the whole day in front of Tulsi. So people are automatically attracted to see the sadhus. So everybody wanted to come see Mrigrari the sadhu. And what does one do when one goes to see a sadhu? One takes a little flour, some little sugar, some little boga, some little milk. And everybody was coming to see him and bringing him so much of things that he had so much of boga that he had to refuse. And then one day, Narad Muni said to his friend Parvat Muni, let's go see Mrigrari. Let's see what is happening. And Mrigrari saw his spiritual master, Sri Narad, and Parvat Muni coming, and he started to run towards them. But as he was running, he saw the ants on the ground and he was trying to avoid them. He was jumping here, jumping there, trying to avoid. And then he met his guru eventually. He offered obeisances to Guru Parvat Muni. Then Parvat Muni said, but why were you behaving so funny, jumping like this and jumping like that when you came to see the Guru? And then he said, oh, there were ants on the road. I didn't want to tramp them. Therefore, I was trying to avoid them. I was jumping. And Sri Narad said, just see a cruel hunter, how his heart has become so purified by the chanting of the holy names that he cannot even chant, that he cannot even tramp an ant. So Prabhupada writes here, thus a devotee does not have to try separately for renunciation or knowledge. Devotional service itself is so powerful that by one's service attitude, everything is revealed. Everything is revealed. Therefore, Prabhupada said, the most important verse in the Shastras is, again, it'll come to me now. I know the English, that one who has implicit faith in the words of the spiritual master and the Lord, all the imports of Vedic knowledge are revealed. Prakashante matmanaha. How does the verse go? Anyway, it'll come back to me lately. So this process is beautiful. That the two essential ingredients, knowledge and renunciation, come automatically to the devotee with the service attitude. Therefore, it's considered to be most confidential. Most confidential. Yasya deve parabhakti. Yata deve tata guru. Tasyaiti iti katita. Prakashantehi mahatmanaha. That only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge revealed. Yasya deve parabhakti. Yata deve tato guru. Prabhupada said that this is the most important verse, and this is from the Svetashvatara Upanishad. Okay, I think I've gone over time today. I shall stop here and take any questions, comments, or reflections that anyone has. It makes sense?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much for the class. Nice class. Despite not being well, you've joined us. We're very, very grateful to you. Thank you so much. Hope you get well soon, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for that wonderful class. It's quite a difficult one in the sense that I suppose if you break it down simply, you can say I shall serve only Krishna, and that's called Jnana Vairagya, as opposed to serving Maya. Am I taking that away correctly? Because otherwise you're a servant of Maya, you're serving Maya. But when you become, I suppose, actually knowledge, and then you're serving Krishna, then only do you become Jnana Vairagya. Do I understand that correctly?
So are you saying to surrender to Krishna, you need knowledge?
Yes.
And it seems almost circular. And only when you surrender to Krishna do you get knowledge. Actually, the only knowledge one needs is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And my duty is to serve him. You remember the story Prabhupada used to say about the Brahmin in South India who was reading the Bhagavad Gita? He was completely illiterate. And he was looking at the Bhagavad Gita and tears were coming from his eyes. And everyone was laughing at him. And Mahaprabhu asked the people, why are you laughing at him? They say he is illiterate. And he's got the Bhagavad Gita in front of him and he's crying. The Mahaprabhu went to the Brahmin and said, "So, explain to me what's going on." And he said, "My spiritual master instructed me, although I'm illiterate, to study the Bhagavad Gita. So I'm looking at this photograph on the cover. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and he is driving the chariot of Arjuna. And I'm feeling so much of emotions about Krishna's." And Mahaprabhu hugged him and said, "You are the true student of the Bhagavad Gita." So in one sense, all one needs is to be humble and to serve Krishna. Like one of our great acharyas, Srila Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he was completely illiterate. But his disciple, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was the greatest scholar of his time. And yet he accepted his guru as a fully realized soul. So to surrender to Krishna doesn't require much. Simply to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the servant of Krishna and I should serve Krishna. And when one does that, all the knowledge will come. I'm not sure if that answered your question, Mataji, if I understood you.
It does perfectly, Prabhuji, and that story of Brahmana is so beautiful. I remember coming across it a while back in my reading, and so yeah, and then to go back to the point of wasting time on knowledge, I think do you need to know the Upanishads and Puranas and everything? Basically, all you need to know is you're Krishna's servant, you serve Krishna, and that's it.
Well, then one may ask, why did Srila Prabhupada make such endeavors to translate the Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, Sri Upanishad? He could have just said, chant Hare Krishna. No need to make this big endeavor to translate books, to print books, to distribute books. It all seems like a big endeavor. Why don't you just do service and chant Hare Krishna? The thing is, studying Srimad Bhagavatam is bhakti. Because Bhagavatam reveals Krishna. And the more we understand Krishna, the more attached we become to Krishna. So one may ask, why, if we were to follow the import of these two verses, why are we having this every 4 times a week? We're coming together to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And we're studying the verses, discussing the verses. Why? Because this is bhakti. Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion gives 64 items of bhakti. And he said 5 are especially potent. Chanting the holy name, associating with devotees, residing on a holy place, worshipping the deity, and studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Because these are activities of bhakti. We don't have to go and study the Upanishads. We don't have to study the Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda. We don't have. The essence of all of this in the Veda is Srimad Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam, yes. Yeah.
And the essence of Bhagavatam is the Leela of Krishna and his devotees. Yeah, this is bhakti. Studying Srimad Bhagavatam is not Gyan, it is bhakti. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I was splitting that up between Puranas, Upanishads, and then obviously Srimad Bhagavatam because that's separate. Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much. All glories to your service. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Rubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha
Patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha.
Anantakoti
Anantakoti
Vaishnava
Vaishnavrinda ki jai,
Jai
Srila
Shri
Prabhupada ki jai,
Prabhupada.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Get answered.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare